And thank you, everybody who was able to make it on live, and for the people who are getting the replay. I got all kinds of questions when people registered, so that was awesome. And I'm going to do my best to address the questions that you have about Talk to the Entities. So just for the people who are here live, does anybody have a pressing question that you came on here and this is what you came here for today? You can come off mute and ask or not.
Maybe it's not a pressing question, but I don't know if what I need is Know Your Voice workshop or Talk to the Entities, but I had a Know Your Voice workshop before. I loved it. And this is my first time to do a Talk to the Entities workshop. But I suppose it's not pressing.
Okay.
You can wait. Okay. Just to say that I have a Talk to the Entities thing, which goes back many years. Is there the capacity to help that now? I mean, we're talking 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's too embedded to maybe get to.
Well, I think of it as like riding a bike, even if you haven't ridden a bike in many, many years, you can start again. And you might be a little rusty, but you can do it. Many of us have had experiences with spirits, entities of many different kinds. And for whatever reason, we shut it off or turned our back to it or closed the door, but you can always step into it again. It is a natural capacity that every single one of us has. It's a muscle. And as we use the tools that Shannon has so brilliantly laid out in the beginning class, you build that muscle, and it's really easy, really easy. And it actually helps you to build your awareness in general. I think it's one of the best classes to do that, because you are pretty much forced to use your awareness. You're perceiving, knowing, being, receiving, instead of thoughts, feelings, and emotions, because you can't see them necessarily. Oh, that was one of the questions that somebody sent in. I cannot see entities at all, and I do not even realize them. What is wrong with me? I love how we always go, what's wrong with me? It's never a wrongness. It's a choice. You don't need to see entities. It's not right to see them. It's not wrong to not see them. It's a choice. And if you look at it, you'll recognize, oh, wow, I guess I don't want to see them. And that's okay. Sometimes you'll see this little flicker out of the corner of your eye, a little sparkle, twinkle, or a shadow, or a wisp, or a something. That is entity awareness. When we acknowledge it instead of brush it off or negate it, it becomes stronger.
Can you tell us what is entity?
Entity is a being. Usually it's a being stuck in an identity without a body. But there can also be other entities like nature, spirits. Everything has consciousness, and everything is an entity. You're an entity, I'm an entity, but we have bodies, and there are entities without bodies. And there's this whole classification of the kingdom of the spirit world that you learn about in the beginning class. So, Derek, did that answer your question?
From what I can tell, it's maybe about re-engaging with the entities for me. But I also have other advice to disengage, or a skill set to disengage. And I think that for example, I've had experiences of seeing wisps of entities several times. I have a different maybe a different understanding to people here about that. I have my own understanding, and I don't think it's about, for me, being here isn't about explaining that to me, because I have my own kind of thing about that. But it's just that with my particular entities thing, it was you know, the element of fear came into it. And I'm guessing from what you said, Julie, that obviously a choice 30 years ago isn't a choice today. So just that, you know, choosing now. Well, my question is, choosing now, can I change what happened to me? Because I think it was such a formative thing. And
Yeah.
you know, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say a sarcastic remark so that all the humanoids, I want to say, no, you can't change it, but of course you can change it. It's really amazing what the access tools give you access to. You can change literally anything, past, present, future. And it's a matter of being present with the energies and being present with whatever is our points of view that allows things to change. In the beginning class of Talk to the Entities, we do all kinds of clearings around fear. And I can do some today if that's an issue for people. It usually is a beginning issue for people. And then some people think it's cool. I always thought it was cool. And sure, you get these creepy feelings on occasion, and that can be entity awareness. It's not necessarily fear, it's awareness. So, wow, like there's so many different places in my head that this energy is going. And I want to keep it to your question. So yes, you can change it. And let's just do a general clearing on fear. So what have you decided entities are that keeps you from being aware? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And what have you decided entities are not that keeps you from being aware? Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. A lot of times it's the things that we tell ourselves that aren't actually true that cut off our awareness. And then once we've cut off our awareness, we're not being the infinite being anymore. And then we become the effect of our awareness. Does that make sense? So whatever we think or believe that is cutting off our awareness, let's just set all that aside and expand out and become present with what is. Stepping into being more of the being that you are and recognizing that there's nothing more powerful than you. There's all kinds of clearings around coping mechanisms and triggers for fear and all the erroneous information that we have been fed over lifetimes about entities. What if in the resistance to the spirit world, we're actually resisting a level of power and potency, magic and miraculousness that we haven't been willing to choose? There's a lot of energy on that. Everybody lower your barriers. Let's just try and uncreate everything that's coming up. Like, wow, what if you could actually step into all of your power, potency, magic, and miraculousness without fear, without justification, and just have it to use for you.
Julie, can I say something?
Yep.
So my understanding is that an entity is simply a thought. A thought is an entity.
I feel like there's like a possibility, but it's a little twisted because thoughts, feelings, and emotions are the lower harmonic of perceiving, knowing, and being. So some of your thoughts could be awareness that you're picking up from something else, could be an entity, could be somebody else's creation. But thought is the lower harmonic of knowing. So when you have thoughts, you could just ask, what do I know?
Okay.
Everything that brings up, it makes your brain scramble, doesn't it? It's like, whoa, what happened? My whole head's like, "Rrr." So everything that is, well, you just try and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And what if that spinny, spacious, not able to think is more the space of your being and your awareness? So we keep trying to focus and pull ourselves in and linear logically figure shit out, but that's not what a being is capable of. We're capable of this like huge, spacious, expansive awareness of all kinds of things simultaneously. Veronica?
Hi, thank you. I have a question. I had a client who came to me and she said, I don't know what's happening to me, but I think I need a bar session. And we start working, and I never had experience with entities before. And during the session, I could see very clear the entity within her. So but I didn't know what to do with it, how to approach it, or I consider myself pretty new to bars. I practiced near a year, so I started having those experiences. The usual information comes as a visuals, as a pictures. So, but that experience with entity was really, really strong, and like big question mark kind of hang in the air. I still don't know how to deal with it, or should I not? Maybe it's her lesson to go through. Like I can't take responsibilities for everything for other people's lives, you know. It's like this is her lesson. So many questions, and maybe I need a special course on it. But if shortly you can describe how to behave, what to do in situations like that, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. So that would be an ability that you have. And I highly recommend the beginning class of Talk to the Entities. The only prereq is taking a bars class, so that's pretty cool. There is no one perfect way to handle this stuff. It's really truly about being in the question. If somebody is coming to you for a bars session, they are coming to you to facilitate them. So if something like an entity shows up, you can ask in your head, are they willing to receive this? Can I talk about this? And you can start to ask the questions that will create the awareness of how to move forward. Sometimes you can even clear the entity yourself without bringing it up to the person, but that's in certain circumstances when you're clearing the entity to make your life better. You don't want to clear entities on other people necessarily without their permission, and it doesn't necessarily work. But like, let's say you're in an airplane and there's a baby crying and oh, there's an entity. So you can clear that because it makes everybody's lives better. So with your client, it's really about asking questions and
Right. Mm-hmm.
and for some people that freaks them out to even know that there's an entity, and some people it's a relief. I mean, it's a huge relief. So you've got to use your awareness and be willing to screw it up.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Like, I can't tell you. There's no perfect, there's no getting it right, and there's really no wrong. Even when you screw it up, so to speak, you create change. So don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
That feels so much better, right? Okay, let me see if I can go to some of the other questions. How can connection with spirits contribute to my life? Well, it's like the entity awareness is a huge portion of what exists here, but we pay no attention to it. So it's like when you say, I don't know to things, you cut off your knowing. And as an infinite being, you have 4 elements to being. You perceive, you know, you be, and you receive. So if you say, I don't know, you're cutting off your knowing. That's a quarter of what you be. And then when we also cut off the unseen, unheard world of entities and spirits, we're cutting off a huge amount of what actually exists. And the cool thing is that you don't have to know what it is exactly, what you are turning toward and what you are opening to. It's like an adventure wonderland of possibilities and energies when you just say yes. It is simply just say yes, because it is actually lighter than barricading, bracing, invalidating the possibility and resisting it, holding it away. There's tremendous relief, there's tremendous peace, potency, capacities, magic, all kinds of stuff when you turn towards the spirit world. And it's going to be different for every single person. So it's something that you get to find out yourself. I don't know anybody who has chosen to open to the spirit world that hasn't had a positive experience, put it that way. And it's usually changing things in your life that you had no idea would change from something so undefined. People have had like total changes in their relationship where everything was stuck and not working. People have had body stuff, business stuff, like all kinds of amazing things shift. And who knows what would shift for you. I can't wait to find out. Let's see, what's the other questions? More communion between worlds. That's not really a question, so I don't know what that person was getting at. How to communicate, connect with them, and be aware of them. Well, that's what the Talk to the Entities class is about. We move through clearing all the points of view and all the fear and the judgment and the lies that we've been told about the spirit world. And then there are tools to actually help you connect and communicate. Clear, communicate, receive from, and cooperate with entities. And it's an amazing, normally 2-day class. I'm actually breaking it up into 4 days to create more space. We're starting next week if anybody would like to join. But there's an amazing manual clearings, and there's a flow chart that helps you go through the questions and strengthen your awareness. Everybody has awareness, and it's going to be different for each one of us. And like when I first became aware of entities, it was way before access even existed. And I sort of tapped into it through some other thing with breathing exercises and stuff. And it's sort of like when you do paint by numbers. You can paint, but it's not really your painting. It's not your expression. So this breathing things, like you breathe this many times this way and you do this and you do that. And then all of a sudden it opened me to this place of receiving this information. With access, it's so much simpler. You know, you expand, you lower your barriers, you ask questions, and all of a sudden there's your awareness. Like you don't have to go through all this other stuff to get there. It's you be you, and it just shows up. And then your life gets easier. So I think that's why a lot of people don't choose this is, number one, they don't want their life to get easier. Number two, they don't want to know how amazing, magical, and powerful they are. Number three, they don't want to be weird and different. And you already are weird and different. Sorry. Everybody can see that. And you don't have to ever tell anybody. You can just kind of use this stuff for yourself to make your life better, and it will. But every once in a while, you can share a little something and totally melt somebody's world. And it is an amazing gift to be able to be that and do that. And how to allow them to contribute was another question. And how is never a question. It's what choice. So what choice would you have to be making to allow spirits to contribute to you, or anybody to contribute to you? It's really just a choice and a willingness to receive. And all of these things are topics that we go in depth and do energetic processes, and you will have an amazing experience. if you choose the beginning class. Any other questions? Those were all the ones sent in. No, I didn't.
So are you going to show us some entity today?
Am I going to what?
Are you going to show us some entities today? Make some excitement. I'm falling asleep.
Well, are you falling asleep or are you relaxed and in a more spacious place? And this is the energy that we be when we can actually receive from entities. There's no force. It's a very relaxed space. So if you need to, you can fall asleep.
Okay,
For
I
sure.
did not really mean that I'm falling asleep. I meant that I came here, I wanted to really see some entity, have some exercise that I will now have like half of the course in 10 minutes, and I'm waiting for this.
This is a taste of talk to the entities. This is not a show of entities. I don't know how to give you what you want.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
You
fair.
Can I ask a question? I think I left it as a private message to you, Julie, anyway. You mightn't have seen it. Maybe if I ask it out verbally.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I wasn't looking at the chat.
Oh, sorry. I should have emailed in before, but I actually thought of this question during the session. So in terms, what is better in talking to the series of entities? So, and in this, you can say the entities talking to you or messaging you. So is melodic or harmonic the better way? So melodic, it'll be you'd be talking in a sequence. But with harmonic, you'd have 2, 3, 4, 5 talking at the same time, and that, you know. Would you have an opinion on that?
It can be in however way you choose. In the beginning class, we highly recommend people to do business hours, so to speak, and where you invite entities to show up and facilitate them.
Okay.
It can be one-on-one, it can be by groups. It's really how you choose. And you can ask them to stand back. You can invite them to come close to you. It's really recognizing that you are the director of your experience with this. And how can you brush up on your skills so that you can create the outcome that you would like to create? And at the same time, facilitate all these beings who are stuck in a choiceless space. A lot of entities who left their bodies, whether it was on drugs or just being unconscious, stay in that state. And by asking them the questions and clearing, it gives them the possibility of moving forward and choosing something different. It gives them choice, which is creating more consciousness in the world. So it's a wonderful gift. So I was going to keep this to just 30 minutes. Are there any last questions? Okay, well, I wonder what you can create as you turn towards the spirit world. It's going to be an amazing, amazing journey, and I hope you will join me next week. We start around this time, Tuesday. And when I send out the replay to this, I will send the link for you to find out more information about that class. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, everyone. I'm going back to
Thank
bed.
you.
Night.
Thank you, Julie.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Julie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,